That was classic heat here on SiriusXM Shade 45, the Punchline Academy. My guy, Tony Sunshine, is in the building. I'm drinking water. He's drinking Patron. Miss Get Adam is also drinking water.
Yes.
Miss Get Adam is the only human that I know on Earth that gets heartburn from water.
I
You
know.
get heartburn from water too?
You too?
That's a
See,
fact.
I'm not the only fucking.
I guess there's only two people. I guess there's only two people, right? So, all right. So coming out of this the Terror Squad camp, right? And we just lost Percy, right? TS and
Shout out.
And for people who may not know who Percy was, can you kind of explain his role and what it meant to the hip hop community to lose someone like that?
So Percy is a day one. Percy is a sandbox day one brother. He's not only a family member, but he's part of the legacy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Played many roles, and it's just sad. It's a sad situation. You know what I mean with Percy, because anybody that knew Percy knows that he had good energy and good intentions. He was a wild boy, outspoken, didn't hold his tongue and didn't fold his chair for nobody. Yeah. But at the end of the day, if he fucked with you and you needed him, you got him all day. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And it's just a sad situation because, like I said, he's a sandbox day one. He's not just a guy that came along throughout the years and became a tag-along member. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? So that's that, man. Shout out to Percy. Rest in peace him. May God bless his soul. Rest his soul. My condolences to his family, and he ain't never gonna be forgotten.
Yeah, man, rest in peace, Percy. So we had Daz Dillinger on here maybe like 2-3 weeks ago, and we had a very interesting conversation about his contributions to the Chronic album, right? And Doggy Style, where he damn near produced he produced damn near every record on the Chronic. Almost damn near every record on Doggy Style, the majority of All Eyes on Me, and the splits weren't put correctly. So right now, Snoop reacquired Death Row Records, right, and now they're in the process of redistributing the royalties. And he brought to our attention that Redman and Method Man never got paid $1 in 26 years for the Got My Mind Made Up record. And I remember we was on my podcast, the Inphamus Hour, you can catch on all platforms. Mm-hmm. We were talking about your contributions to Yeah Baby, right? And you having a hand in the majority of that project, almost feeling like it could have been set up for you the way Ghostface and Raekwon had that project set up. Yeah,
that was the whole idea. The whole idea that Pun had was to set me up in the industry and show my genius and show my vocal ability. Mm-hmm. And during the process he passed away, and the Yeah Baby album went on without him. And things took a turn. Now, in hindsight, now the person that I am today, I understand the business and I get what took place. As a young kid coming up in the game and putting in work, I didn't understand. I didn't get it. You know what I mean? Yeah, but I had a lot to do with the creative process of Yeah Baby. Yeah. Certain songs, certain content, certain wordplay, certain hooks, certain things. But that's neither here nor there. Well, it's called paying dues.
Well, no, it's important. I mean? It's important because when you hear a record like It's So Hard, you're under vocals on that record, and I think people don't know that.
Well, It's So Hard, this is how it goes. It's So Hard was co-written by myself and Pun, right? Originally, it's supposed to be me singing the hook. Pun passed away. Without Pun being physically alive to promote the album, then, they got to come up with ways to make the song pop. Right?
Yeah.
So you got Darnell Jones, who's a star at the moment.
He's hot at that time, yeah.
He's hot. He got hit records out, and so they thought about putting him on the record. Did I get upset? No. They said, Tone, we need you to go in the studio, work with Darnell Jones, and get him to sing the hook the way it goes. You know what I mean? So I spent 4 days with Darnell Jones in the studio, getting him to sing the hook the way we wanted it. Ultimately, he sang the lead on top, and it was great. But they kept my vocals in the bottom because they wanted to keep the authenticity
of the record.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's that.
Yeah, and the record, obviously 100% is like the most known Tony Sunshine pun record. It's probably
Yeah.
the most famous Latin hip hop record ever, and that says a lot because Cypress Hill is Latin. They got a bunch of shit. I mean, this is the one. But do you ever get to a point where you're like, you know what? Damn, I don't want to perform this record. Like as a person, like just as a
You know,
person.
when I first recorded the record, when I first did the record, we did it because Pun and I always had a visual. We always had an idea, candidly, comedically, and at the same time with a lot of seriousness in it. Because we understand that we Latinos in hip hop. We understand that we stand out. And I've said this 1 million times in interviews before. I've said it 1 million times. So what I'm about to say is nothing new. You could go to any interview and probably hear me say this. But Pun used to say, when Tower Records was open or any mom and pop store was open, when you go to the store to buy Biggie Smalls' album, you don't say, hey, let me get the Jamaican rapper's album.
Yeah.
When you go buy Usher's album, you don't say, hey, let me get the African-American R&B singer's album. You say, let me get Usher's album. So to us, it was important to be taken serious as artists in hip-hop and R&B. So we knew it would be a gamble, right? So that was just us thinking ahead of time.
A gamble as far as like directly identifying.
A gamble within the song being criticized and not taken serious and it being a flop, right? But this was one of the days that, you know, we was in North Carolina and Pun was getting his health right and he didn't feel well that day and he decided to leave the studio, and so we was sitting on the instrumental, the beat, and I decided to tell him, yo, bro, let me record that just to see how you feel about it. And he gave me the green light. He went to go get his sleep, get his rest. I laid the hook. He came back the next day. He said, let me see what the kid did. He heard it. He fell in love with it. He laid his vocals, right? Then again, he wanted to leave again and go get his rest. And I said, yo, bro, how about I laid a Puerto Rican anthem on the record? And, you know, he looked at me like kind of like, you know, to me, it kind of felt like he was looking at me like we might be pushing it a little bit.
Much, yeah.
But you know what? Go ahead.
Do it, yeah.
So I went in there and laid the Puerto Rican anthem, and again, he came back and heard it, and the rest is history.
Man, super
You know what I
classic.
mean? Never in a million years did I think that Steve Rifkin and Joe were going to press the button on that record. You know what I mean? To me, it was going to be an album filler, and it was just going to be another record that, you know, people were going to listen to, but keep going on it.
Do you know why they decided to push the button on that?
I can't tell you that. If I tell you why if I try to come up with a reason why, I'll be lying to you. But I know it was God. You know what I'm saying? I know that it was necessary in hip hop to bridge the gap. I know that behind us dropping that record, a lot of Latin artists were able to cross over into the American.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Genre, and a lot of American artists were able to cross into the Latin market, and a lot of stars were born.
Yeah, of course.
You got to remember, this is 8 years before the reggaeton epidemic blew up. If you look at and I said this before, if you look at the video, we went to Puerto Rico to shoot the video, and we decided to invite Daddy Yankee when his name was Winchester. We decided to invite Nicky Jams when nobody knew who he was. Shout out to Nicky, and this is not disrespectful. Nicky Jams is one of the biggest stars, if not the biggest star in the reggaeton world, and he is my favorite artist in that genre, right? But nobody knew who he was at the time. Evie Queen, Don Lamar, all these guys. This is 8 years before. We seen the vision, we understood what was going to take place, and we invited them. And they're in the video, you know what I mean? So again, a lot of stars were born behind us, being able to bridge the gap between the Latin market and the American market. You know what I mean? Daddy Yankee went on to do songs with 50 Cent and Snoop Dogg, and, you know, J-Lo was able to put out a R&B album, and Mark Anthony was able to cross over and put out an English album. And, you know, I'm not trying to take credit, but I understand what the song did for the Latin community. You know what I mean? And I was a part of that process.
Man, free jewelry, Tony,
Yeah.
Punchline Academy.
Yeah, Tony, in your own right, you pioneered the reggaeton genre, and that was around the time that, you know, we weren't getting a lot of music from you per se, because you were going through your period of still trying to understand what happened after Pun,
Right.
and that must have been a really tough period for you. Did you have someone that you would talk to, or was there like maybe like a record label group of other artists who were in a similar space as you, where they were like so influential to doing so much music? Because I mean, your pen doesn't just extend to reggaeton. You were
Right.
doing a lot in the R&B space. You're working with a lot of hip hop artists as well.
Facts.
So I want to know, like, how did you get through that? And was there someone that you were able to trust in to speak about the things that you were going through?
Well, you got to remember that everybody in Terror Squad, right? We came into the game as kids. We all was learning at the same time. Nobody knew what the fuck they was doing. We was all winging it. You know what I'm saying? Nobody understood what the fuck was going on. We was just getting money and making music and learning along the way. You know what I mean? So there was really nobody to talk to, and nobody was thinking about teaching anyone else the game. You had to learn it on your own. You had to peep game, and you had to absorb, and you had to work with it. Now me, a young gun-ho kid from the block that never had shit, you give me a bag, and you know how that goes. So I was wilding. You know what I'm saying? I was wilding. So I take about 45% accountability for what transpired in my career. You know what I'm saying? As far as learning, the learning process of it, and absorbing and learning the business side, I wasn't worried about that because I never had shit. So when you gave me a bag, I was worried about other things. You know what I mean? And then I had so much power. You couldn't tell me shit. You know what I mean? So that's that. But as far as having somebody to talk to, we was all kids.
Yeah, y'all was figuring it out together.
We was all kids.
Uh-huh.
We was all young kids from the block getting money and living life and sex, drugs, and rock and roll. You know what I mean?
And you was always singing from the beginning? No, you was rapping first, right?
No.
No?
I've been singing since I was 5 years
Okay.
old. I started singing salsa and bolero. I sang with Celia Cruz, Tito Puente,
Nice,
Eddie
yeah.
Santiago, Rafi Sabatel, Su Charanga, and a bunch of. And so, you know, due to the adversities that life hands you, my mom went through a bunch of things and made bad decisions, not because she wanted to, but she was a product of her environment, made bad decisions. And so I grew up in the shelter system. You know what I mean? In and out the shelter system, this, that. And we weren't able to keep up with some of the things that were necessary for me to make it into the Latin salsa bolero community. You know what I mean? During the process, the shelter system finds us a place to live, which is Forest Projects.
Forest Projects.
We get the Forest Projects. I'm 11 going on 12. We get to the projects about a year later. I meet some of the guys in the neighborhood at 13, going back and forth. At that time, there's another Spanish guy coming up. He's popular in the streets and popular among the rappers and the producers and upcoming guys, and he's upcoming himself, and I admired that. I wanted to know who he was because I'm a 13-year-old curious kid.
Yeah.
Oh, shit, another Latin guy like me, right? So I would ask my friends, yo, how do I meet him? How do I talk to him? And they would tell me, yo, grab your nuts, be a man, go over there, talk to him. And so I did. You know what I mean? I did. I went over there. I introduced myself. I told him I sang some. He said, shorty, go ahead, sing some. But the way he said it was like everybody said it.
Yeah.
Right? And so I sang Forever My Lady by Jodeci, and he was blown away. And he said, yo, one of these days, I might swing through the block and come pick you up. And that day turned into the very next day. He came through with full flex, God bless the dead, and picked me up. And I went with him to Relativity Records, where that was his first deal. And we talking about Fat Joe. And from that day on, it was love. You know what I mean? Not to mention that I was fucking with Giz and Power and a lot of the original members of Terror Squad. So there's a lot of people that always put their emphasis or what they think transpired or they tell their own story. And the truth is,
of it, yeah.
and the truth is that I'm really a day one.
From
know
day
what I'm
one.
A
Yeah.
lot of people be like, oh, cause Pun put you on. No, my man. I've been with Joe since I was fucking 13 years old.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
13.
But
13.
what was it? Did Pun take a liking to you? And then that's how.
Well, what happens is I met Joe when I was 13. I met Pun when I was 15, going on 16.
Yeah, so you still.
You know what I mean? But Joe and Pun didn't know each other.
Oh, they
didn't know
didn't?
of each other, no.
Okay.
And so, you know, we were in 23 Park across the street from Forest Projects. And another guy, not to mention
Another guy.
Some other guy, yeah.
another guy had another guy with him.
Yeah.
And that other guy said, I sing, right? And in my mind, I was like, oh, me too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm 15 years old. I was like, oh, me too.
Yo,
Right?
this guy's funny because when I asked him a question earlier, he's like, "This nigga Inf go," and he does the same shit. Like,
Yeah. So me too. So the guy says he sings. So Pun tells him, and back then his name was Moondog.
Oh, yeah,
Chris
Moondog, yeah,
Moondog,
Moondog,
right?
yep.
His name wasn't Pun. And so, and this is like maybe like the third day I meet Pun. You know what I'm saying? And Pun tells the kid, okay, go sing something. And the kid starts singing, and in my mind, I'm like, this ain't shit, nigga. I'm about to bust your ass, nigga. I'm about to bust your ass. So me being, knowing my craft, I've been singing since I was 5.
Mm-hmm.
I hear him, and in my mind, I'm like, nigga, that's not the way the song go. But I was thinking out loud. I said, that ain't the way the song go. And Pun looked at me and was like, oh. So you sing it.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck it. And I sang it, and Pun went fucking insane. Because, Pun really wanted to be a singer.
really?
Yeah, Pun wanted to be a singer. Pun could have been many things: a comedian, a boxer. He went on to be one of the biggest rappers in the game, or not the biggest, but one of the most legendary. Right, pioneers in the Latin. As far as being the first Latin
For
rapper.
us, he's the guy.
For us,
Yeah.
he's the
For
guy.
us, he's the guy.
There you go.
Period. For us, he's the guy. Yeah.
But his love, his passion was for singing, and he wanted to be a singer, but he ain't have it, right? So he was
They
vicariously.
ain't trained him or nothing?
Nah, he ain't have it. So vicariously through me, he was like, yo. And he said, yo, we gonna be best friends forever. I was like, forever? He was like, forever, nigga. I was like, all right, we're gonna be best friends. And that was that.
Wow.
You know what I mean? And that was that. So, but originally, I come from Joe's side.
Yeah.
I come from that camp. You know what I mean? I mean, we all come from that camp. You know what I mean? Because without Joe, there's no Pun.
A lot of social media.
Without
clips here,
Joe, there's
Tone.
no Remy. Without Joe,
It's a
there's no
beautiful
Tony.
story. It's a
Without
beautiful
Joe,
story, man. I
You
tell
know what I mean? So you could try to count him out as much as you want. Without that man,
There's nobody. Yeah.
there's nobody.
Yeah.
Without his brain, without his, you know what I'm saying, his relationships, his friendships that he built, there's nobody. And I acknowledge that, and I respect that, and I salute that. You know what I mean? So it is what it is.
Man, free jewelry here in the Punchline Academy, Tone. Make sure you're in the fucking left lane. My guy, Tony Sunshine is here. And I don't give a fuck how many R&B records this nigga sang. The Punchline Academy freestyles.
Let's go. Let's go.
After this drop.
Let's go. This is
Shade-
what I do.
Shade 45, SiriusXM.